Citizens of the free world, I am Hoverman Cop, defender of justice, defender of the people, defender of the earth. In Woodcross, Utah, an on-duty police officer arrives at a location, sees a 10-year-old disabled child. Knowing this, he decides without hesitation to pull out his gun on this child and demands this child to do what he says with a gun pointed at this child for no reason at all. He used no common sense. And this police officer, for his lack of common sense and the actions that he decided to withdraw his gun on that 10-year-old, not only should remove him, terminate him, eliminate him from policing, but charges should be filed against this police officer. This police officer who did this is still in parole. Think about that. This crooked, corrupt, defiled human being with 2 feet, a brain and eyes is walking around patrolling the streets of Woodcross, Utah, after he pulled his gun on a 10-year-old child who not only did not have a weapon, this 10-year-old child had nothing in his hands. Neither was this 10-year-old child involved in any kind of violation of the law. And even if he did, no weapon was on that child, seen on that child, in the hands of that child, for this police officer to pull his gun, a loaded gun, towards that child. I want you to hear the words of this child's mother. And after you hear what she has to say, I will come back and conclude my thoughts, what I know as a police officer who knows right and wrong, who knows the difference in the actions that should be taken appropriately when you make a decision as a police officer to pull your weapon. I will return.
DJ standing in the front lawn playing with no toys in his hand, nothing's in his hand. And an officer had a pistol pointed at his head and was telling him, "You need to put your hands up in the air." And DJ's exact word, "Did I do something wrong? What did I do?" And the officer said, "Don't ask questions. Put your hands up in the air and get on the ground."
Well, I'm going to get right to it. That police officer, his mind set, his actions, and him pulling out his weapon. Not only did he pull out his weapon, he pointed his weapon at the head of a 10-year-old. So, what does that tell you? I'll tell you what this means. That officer, the evil in that officer, he was going to shoot and kill that 10-year-old. And the only thing that saved that 10-year-old was his mother. How do you expect police officer in your agency, your chief, who claims that your actions was appropriate, further tells me not only is the actions of that officer is corrupt, but the chief has no clue and no proper leadership to have order and integrity within that department towards the citizens of Woodcross, Utah. And the whole area of Woodcross, Utah should not only seek to have that police officer to be removed, but there's a bigger threat, and it goes up to the head that chief, you, sir, your mind and your leadership should be evaluated closely, for your judgment is just as corrupt as that police officer under your leadership who put that gun on a 10-year-old child for no reason. You cannot tell me who in their right mind, if you received any kind of call or a so-called search for suspects, you know within reason, I assume, since you all are police officers and are you not supposed to be servants of the citizens to protect and serve them? How can you explain if you were looking for suspects, you see a 10-year-old child who has disabilities, think that he is a part of a crime? What kind of crime have this officer or that area is exposed to for you to think that that child was a danger, was a suspect involved in a crime? This same chief by the name of Chad Sophie, he stated that officer, he doesn't intend to fire this officer, and even said that that police officer used good judgment. This was no mistake. What that police officer did, he did it intentionally, and you better believe that police officer was going to shoot and kill that child. And then what this chief had to say, this chief says that we all as citizens, certainly those in that area, need to learn from this, learn from what happened, to ensure that people will not be traumatized by their efforts to protect the community. Now, is that not insane? Does that make any sense? Well, my question is, well, who are you protecting? And is there a certain level of protection given to certain individuals? Are you protecting Utah Chief and your police officers? Are you all protecting all citizens in that community, or are you protecting certain individuals in that community? And Chief, sir, and you, police officer, who chose to grab your gun and point it at the head of a child, what gave you the right and the level of aggression, use of force, to pull out your gun on that child? Why would you use such aggressive and violent language to a disabled child with your gun pointed at that child? Why would you cause or request or demand that child? Why would you demand for that child to lift up his hands and get down on the ground? We have a serious problem on our hands across this country. And there are many police officers who are putting the lives of other officers more in danger now than ever before. And the division between police officers and citizens is so greatly divided that nothing can solve it but a complete change, removal of all agencies of their current leadership must be completely turned upside down, inside out, in every agency across this country, to ensure that justice and order is maintained by those who wear that uniform day in and day out. We are in a position now that we must demand and take all necessary action to go after these crooked, deranged, violent, evil individuals who are wearing that uniform in dishonor and disgrace, and put those who are committing crimes, violations of the law against citizens, in jail, one city at a time. Every area of our country needs reform and a change now. Over.